crypto market now looks great, because right now we are closing back onto that $2.5 trillion market cap. Those who were here from long time know what that means. We went down to 200 billion and right now $2.5 trillion. So as we go up in Bitcoin, you need to understand the long-term scenario and then jump on and look at short-term scenarios as well. Because on the short term, you are literally watching the market breaking to the upside. Now, why am I so excited with this? I'm not a Bitcoin investor, but when Bitcoin goes up, it shows money is entering into the crypto market. So once it enters into the Bitcoin, now it's in crypto. They make some money. Then when they have to take the profit, it moves into different assets. But always understand there would be guys who kind of, come out, say something and do something which is bad for you and me if you don't understand what they are saying and what they are doing, because they say something else and do something else. Now here right now, Bloomberg Technology is actually highlighting you that Jamie Dimon is going negative on Bitcoin. Now this is not the first time when this guy has actually done that. You go back to 2017, look at the date, it's September, when he was saying this. JP Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon says Bitcoin is a fraud. Great. Now, from that time, October, November, December, Jan, in 4 months time, Bitcoin went through roof. So you just go back into the chart and look at the timing when these guys are saying that. You go back and you literally go back in price too, right? With time, what you are looking at that point before the last peak is literally bad. Say you come here and when, this range, when Bitcoin was below $5,000, this guy was giving you a negative thought process and it went to $20,000. Okay, that's something to think about. Now, on the other end of this, you do have to understand a year later, not even a year, like 4 months later, he says, Jamie Dimon says he regrets calling Bitcoin a fraud and believes in the technology behind it. Okay, so that was not that long time to change his mind. Then, this is another one. 2019, JP Morgan Chase has launched its own cryptocurrency. Okay, now we know that it's dollar-backed one, so it's a little bit different from the real cryptocurrencies, but they are entering into this. So don't listen to what they say, look at what they are doing. So in 2021, August, which is not far behind, JP Morgan, led by Bitcoin skeptic Jamie Dimon, quietly unveils access to the crypto fund. So if they're actually giving this access to their institutional clients just a couple of months back, what are they doing now? He's literally coming out and trying to talk down the market and buy it for his institutional guys when he is literally kicking out retail guys before it actually goes really high. Now what does that mean? Because when Bitcoin goes up, altcoins slow down. When Bitcoin slows down, altcoin gets the room, it runs. So when you look at these, say, I'm really interested by watching the Joker put this one out, because now he's increasing his XRP target towards 14 to 18. Great. So it's not only us who think it's going to go to that range of 18 to 22. Now, another big guy in this one also think that. So that's not a bad step. We're actually going to go towards that range. Now, understand, coming back to that aspect of institutional money internationally coming into the crypto market, this is 2021 August. So when Jamie is reversing on this and then quietly unveiling a lot of crypto funds worldwide, this is happening. So guys, keep your mind focused and clear about what's happening in the market, and then go look at which asset you're going to buy to make the most of it. Welcome to the Scientific Investor family, where we discuss crypto and science behind investing regularly. Once you understand what's really happening in the markets, you are able to look at it and say, okay, this is the possibility, and it has happened in the history with other assets, and this particular stuff went like this. You made money on it like this. So these are something which you need to look at once you understand it, and to understand it you need to look at both the fundamentals and the technical, because once you get both you are having an edge compared to all the others. Because say institutional money is coming into this market, and if this market is going to go bust, I don't think they're going to put their money in, because this one changes that perspective. Global crypto hedge funds. So it's not like one country, small country going in. It's like the world entering into it, and that's why the big guys like PwC and others are working on this, because they don't care whether one guy is saying this or that. What they care is what they're doing, whether money is moving into it or not. Morgan Stanley becomes the first big US bank to offer its wealthy clients access to Bitcoin funds. Okay, so there is a lot of money being made by these third party by offering these products. So when you come back to this, what really is his thought process there? For me, in my opinion, I personally think that it's so clear that this guy is trying to talk down the market where retailers are giving up and his institutional money is being poured in, because it's not only one institution, there is a lot of it, big guys, the real giants entering into this one. They're immersing themselves through this asset class, and if you're risking it based on what they say, that may not be the right decision for your portfolio. If you want to make money, stay strong. Now, yeah, technically, you need to understand what's happening in the market. What are these signs showing you, and is it really possible? So when you look at these, you're going to understand that. Say, this is Zilliqa. Now, we are looking at it right now. So what usually happens is, say, those who don't like technicals, they would most likely say like, okay, nah. You can look at the history and say, this happened because of this. You can look at the history and say, this happened because of this. But you won't be able to look at the present and say, this is going to happen. Now, I personally think that's wrong, because we tried to do that multiple times. Say, look at this time frame. This is back in 2020. You were near that July range, went through that around October, November, you broke higher, you went higher. So go back to that time frame in our Patreon. This is November and Zilliqa. So when you go inside that, we posted it saying, okay, we are here. That's great. If you're breaking, that's a break and you're continuing higher. So the next one is the macro pattern, not just JAT pattern. So when you were breaking higher from that one, we gave you this. This is your ROI from the break. So the first target, second target, third target, you go high and you make all of those. Then this one, this is in Jan, understand this. So when you say, okay, that's not possible to look at the present and say this was the first one. This is the second one in Jan. So when you go to this, it's clear that we had that pattern. We broke higher, we came back, retested it, and we bounced. So now you go back and you look at the same asset. It did that. So are you in to make money? Because what I see for XRP is something similar here with a double bottom, a reversal pattern, then a bull flag, small one, tight one, and then burst to the upside. If this burst is for this small bull flag, then I personally think that the next one is going to be even bigger. But anyway, it's fine. We do have to understand what's going to happen in the macro scenario, because the macro for the first impulse, now we are going through like $6-8 that mark, and if we take a week more, we are going to look at $9. That's not bad. Now when you look at Bitcoin itself, when all of these talks are happening around you, you just look at this asset and say, what can I understand from this asset as of now? You look at this, you try to analyze what it shows, and if it's giving you a bullish pattern and a breakthrough to the upside through the pattern, the resistance of the pattern, the moving average, and then continuing higher, I don't understand how can anyone be bearish on this one. on short to medium term. Now, if you are a macro guy who just look at 10-12 years of chart before you make any decision, okay, it's not time to go bearish, but it's getting towards that time where you should be defensive, right? You look at this asset and say, okay, fine, we started all the way back from here, 0.07, okay, great, and then you are now at $65,000. Right now at 57, but we touched that high of 65. So when we are going up, we still would have some upside. Considering the bottom of this cycle, we still have some upside, fine. But if you're entering in for a lot of ROI, I don't think you are really going to see that. Yes, you're trending higher. Yes, you're moving higher. So what would you be looking at? You come here, you take a line, you try to connect the tops. So yes, you are looking at something which blasts through the roof. Great, your MACD is bouncing. But now when you go through this, what you can literally do is you can use a lot of different tools, and it really depends on who you are, which type of assets you trade, what your experience is, and how you plot this. So if you are going through this, I'm like, okay, fine, we are nearing those resistance range, and by 80,000 we'll have a ton of resistance. And if we are able to break through that, we are going to go touch $100,000 to $120,000 in Bitcoin. Now, if you are getting slowed down by 85, that's a cautionary symbol that you may slow down, because there's a lot of people who entered early and they're going to take profit. Even if you are not going to take profits, they are definitely going to do that. Now, when that is happening, you do have to understand, like say for example, if you go into different assets and look at different stuff, you will understand like, okay, what the market is doing. So like in our Patreon, we regularly do the updates, give them an understanding about what the market is doing, so that before they take any decision, they understand what this market is about, and they look at it in a way that they will understand, okay, what this is about. So now for any XRP investor, while you have this pattern evolving here, breaking through the upside, through the moving average, coming back, that should be a retest and bounce. If you're a technical guy, that's what you are looking at. Fundamentally, comparing the technicals, you're like, okay, fine, current affairs, people are trying to push negative narratives, but on the bigger perspective, it's moving higher. So when Bitcoin is bouncing, keep this in your mind. So as there is fluctuation in the market, what will you keep in your mind? Bitcoin is going higher, great. If it breaks through this one, that's still bullish for Bitcoin. You're going to continue towards 53% in the dominance. Now, what if you get rejected here? You're going to go to the downside and the altcoins are going to run high. Now, how can you say this too? Now, it's easy to understand the Bitcoin dominance and altcoin market because, it's just without Bitcoin. Now, if you look at it on a 3-day or a daily, you have a lot of different patterns evolving which are waiting for breaking to the upside. Now, on a 3-day, this is what you see. Now, there's no enough fluctuation, much enough fluctuation to understand that. But if you are going to a daily, 3-day, you are literally watching these stuff evolving like this, right? You're at that range, you're wicking to the downside, you have the moving average as a support, you have the trend line as a support. So if you are bouncing, now you're going to break higher. But as long as Bitcoin is continuing higher, you're not going to see a huge breakout here. When Bitcoin slows down, that's when you're going to see this pumping. Now, the same pattern which you see in XRP is valid in the entire market. The altcoin market is also giving you that signal. We broke higher, we're continuing higher, we have another resistance here. Once you break that, you're going through the roof. So when you step back, really take a step back and look at it, delete everything, just clear yourself with these indicators and look at this and say whether you are buyer in any asset based on this, or you are a seller, because as you step back you get more clarity. So at least when I'm looking at this, I'm like, okay, fine, what I personally see here, now this is how I'm trying to give you guys what I do. This is just connecting the low of this one and looking at what really happened after that. So once you look at this, you are able to see a cup and handle pattern which we had recently in different assets, and we did good on those, right? So as you're breaking higher, that's gonna be momentum and volume entering back into the market. You put that volume back and look at this. We are reducing the volume, and as soon as you start getting volume, you are moving to the upside. So now you jump back to XRP and look at it. Now this on weekly is still there. I don't know how many people like this or not, but we will still follow this pattern because we had been following this for some time and we got a bounce from the support. Great. Now even longer term scenario, if you're going to connect these, just do connect the bottom or the low of this trend line and connect this. You're like, okay, fine, it's still maintaining that. The only difference is at that point the angle of elevation, the momentum was like this, but right now it's increasing even faster. So you can take this one out and look at it and say, okay, the momentum moving to the upside is increasing. Now you can do this like in a child's way. You look at this like this, fine, you were actually traveling in this range, great. Now you just increased your momentum. It's a basic stuff. You were going like this, now you're increasing that. So what are you looking at? A burst to the upside. But the problem is a lot of guys will have trouble waiting for that. Even though you see the pattern is bullish, even though you see this is going to happen, until that happens, waiting there and staying strong is really hard. And that's what you have to go through when people like this come out and say it's bad stuff. Because if you know why you bought it and that fundamental is not changed for you, and you still think that fundamental is reliable and it's still valid, why would you even care about the price? Because you already know the value. So you're in it for the value, not the price. Because once people understand this, there is a market cycle, it is automatically going to reach the value and the price is going to be matched. Or at some point it's going to get super expensive. At that point, it's a bubble, move out. So now if it's undervalued, you are entering there and you need a ton of patience for it to reach that territory where it's expensive, right? So that's basic stuff about the market which you really need to look at. And I'm going to put all of these in the description. So if you want to read through, look at the background, what really happened back then and precisely this particular report, I'm going to put that in the description so you are able to go through it whenever you are free to do so. So guys, if you're receiving value for your time, please do hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't done that. And if you want to understand these kind of stuff for a lot of different assets in your portfolio, you can look at the Patreon where I post opportunities like this. And if you have that cognitive ability to see, okay, this is happening and we are breaking out, you're going to make money. So guys, the link is in the description for the Patreon, and that's it. I'm going to meet you guys on the next video. Bye for now.